everybody, this is Matthew from Mini Wargaming, broadcasting live for this vlog, the Sit and Talk vlog. Got 15 pages of comments that I've printed off. If you're not familiar with Sit and Talks, normally they're not live, but normally what we do is I will print off a bunch of comments and questions from the previous Sit and Talk, and I just go through them and I respond to them. But since this is a special live one, I'm also going to respond to the chat. So I just started this, so I need to open up the chat. So let's just get this ready, turn off my volume, make sure I pause this, and here we go. So first off, just want to make sure, because it's been a long time since we've really been starting to do these again, so let me know how it sounds. If you notice anything wrong with the sound, then just let me know. So here we go. Sounds good from Delta Commando 17. The Omni says, hey Matt. Hey the Omni. For now I'm not going to put the chat into slow mode. If you're not familiar with Justin.tv, basically I can switch it to slow mode, which slows down the comments so you're not able to post as often. And I'll do that once there's a lot of people in here. But it's just so I can keep up with the comments, so that's not tons of stuff. But for now we're good. So, if you're here live, feel free to post questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording of this afterwards, then go ahead and post a question or whatever in the comments. It can be about anything. It can be about wargaming, it can be about our business, it can be about personal stuff, whatever. We mostly focus on wargaming stuff, but occasionally get into discussing other things as well. And hopefully none of this crashes on me. Okay, you can hear in the background Dan is actually recording a battle report right now. So, a little distracting, but that's okay. Kind of what you have to do when you're in a company where everybody's creating content. So, alright, well you know what, let's start with a question from the live audience. We've got Delta Commando 17 asking, when are you going to build and field your Khador Conquest? That's a great question, Delta Commando 17. And the answer is very soon, but I'm not actually going to be the one to do it. We're getting, I think Worthy Painting is going to be the one putting it together. So you can look forward to that. It's just been hard to find the time to actually do it because we're, well, as you can probably imagine, quite busy. Another question from the audience. Skullbear, how effective do you feel Tyranids are in 6th edition? I think they're great. I think they're very effective. There's been a few things that have been nerfed and a few things that have been buffed. For example, outflanking, completely nerfed because you can no longer charge or assault on the turn that you come in from reserves, even if it's from outflanking. Whereas before, in 5th edition, if you're just entering a table edge and not deep striking, then you were still allowed to assault. Can't do that anymore, so outflanking Genestealer is not nearly as effective. But besides that, a few things that got buffs were basically our ability as Tyranids to take on vehicles, because now you're not hitting vehicles on 4+, or 6+, you're hitting them on 3+, or automatically if they didn't move. That's the same as 5th edition. So now instead of 4+ and 6+, it's always 3+, and so that's great. Now we actually have even more ways to take care of vehicles, which has always been a struggle for Tyranids. There are ways to crack open vehicles, but you have to really know what your opponent's bringing so you can tailor your list perfectly to it. So if you're bringing a general Tyranid army and they bring a lot of vehicles, you have a hard time with that. But now you have a better chance. Also, the psychic powers in 6th edition for Tyranids, oh, so awesome. Just taking Turbogons and Biomancy and all the stuff that can happen there. It's random what you get, but it's still pretty good. So I'm really liking the psychic powers. Little things too, like rage, all of a sudden being useful. Going from a bad thing to a good thing. Now you get +2 attacks on the charge instead of +1, so all your guys who feed, that's really benefiting them. And what else is there? Feel No Pain is better now because it's good for shooting. I realize that it's not reroll all your hits, but you know, a lot of times in close combat we've got Siding Talons to help us reroll our 1s. And or reroll all of our hits, and so now you get to reroll a bit of your wounding as well. So I think Preferred Enemy has been really buffed for the Tyranids and everybody else too. So yeah. So I think overall they're fine. I think for every negative there's at least one positive. We don't have a lot of anti-air right now, but I think a lot of armies are suffering from that. So there's not much you can do about that. So I think they're good. And the games I've played have been fun with Tyranids. I've been really liking how they work out. Warhammer says, greetings from Europe, Czech Republic. Wow. Greetings from Welland, Ontario, Canada. Tiger Guy 786 says, Genestealers certainly aren't useful. Hive Guard for the win. Well, I still think Gene Stealers are quite powerful, but you have to use them quite well because they can still infiltrate, remember, so that's still useful. And Hive Guard for the win. Hive Guard are very useful, but they were useful in 5th too. Another question from Delta Commando, and then we'll go to something from the page. What are your thoughts on the latest Chaos Space Marine stuff that Dave has gotten? I think it's really cool. It actually feels like there's a lot more options for them. I realized there was options before, but it felt like there was only a couple viable options, whereas now they have a lot more. So I haven't actually played against them or seen him play them much, so can't give much more than that. They look cool, and that's neat. I know he would prefer if there was more fleshy things rather than all the mechanical things, like the flyer. It would have been cool if it was a flying monsters creature rather than the flyer, but what can you do? I think it's better to have a flyer than a flying monsters creature anyways. I know flying monsters creature has other advantages over flyers, but everybody needs flyers for now, so it's best to get that. Okay, so going to one of the comments left on the previous sit and talk. We have Decimus saying, "Hey Matt, love all your videos and keep up the great work. Now my question for you is about War Machine. Are you able to take, let's say, Krios and Epic Krios in a dual Warcaster game?" Yeah, its answer is no, because it's the same guy. "Or are you only able to take just the one? I am new to the game and would like help in this. Thank you. Look forward to seeing the next sit and talk." Yeah. Ironically, you're allowed to play against Krios because you can't really help that. But if you're bringing more than one Warcaster, you cannot bring the same one in its epic or regular version, or any other version for that matter, as they come out with even more versions. So they're named characters, so they can only exist once on the board. Alright, let's go to a question from the live audience. Xenius, will there be more videos from Valhalla, and where can we find the famous hot tub video? We didn't actually make a video on the hot tub, so did somebody refer to that? Because we didn't. More videos from Valhalla? I think they're all up. We only did a handful. There might be one more. I think we made like 5 or 6 at most. So, and Vichy Soy says, "Hey Matt, Vichy Soy, how do you pronounce your username? I know we all say it wrong, and you've commented on all the sit and talks. So put it out phonetically for us." Oh, here at Zini says, "I heard there was an interview with you guys in a hot tub," was a comment in another vid. We did have a meeting in a hot tub, where Nick was there, and Dave from Hawk War Games was there. I think he was. Maybe he wasn't there. But anyways, Nick from Worthy Gaming was there, and Sean was there, and Dave and I were there, so at least all of us were there. So we did that, but no video. Sorry. That's probably for the best. Okay. Sarcastic87 from the live audience says, "Hey Matt, with the Chaos pre-orders, GW has started releasing a pack of the new kits as a one-click option. Are you planning on adding something like this to the store? Not necessarily for only pre-orders, but for the more popular options." You know, it's a good idea. And it's funny that you asked that, because Dave and I have been discussing recently just improvements that we can make to our business overall. And one of those, of course, is our website. And this goes for the web store, as well as the vault, and the free content area, and the forum, basically everything. So we are going to be trying to implement new ideas over the next year. It'll be a slow process because we have to test each implementation as we go along. We don't want to make things worse. But I do like ideas like that. So you might see things like that. I'm not sure that specifically, but things like that might come into play. Alright, so Vichy Sois is Vichy Sois. Vichy Sois? Oh, it's French. Okay. Yeah, Vichy Sois. I don't know, it's French. I guess it kind of looks French. Vichy Sois. Vichy Sois. Vichy Sois. Alright, there we go. Now I can say it. Vichy Sois. C'est très bien, Vichy Sois. J'aime bien la soupe. La soupe. Hey, you speak Spanish in your videos, I can speak French in mine. Alright. Let's go to another comment from the audience. Faydwarf, do you think you could make a view history thing? Haven't watched your stuff for a few months, and it's a little tedious to sift through everything for me. View history. Do you mean like view the stuff that you watched before? So, if so, then I think we could probably implement something like that. TigerGuy786, is there a video or something where you talk about how mini wargaming started? Not one in particular. I do answer that question semi-frequently in our sit and talks, but I see. Yeah, like YouTube has a view in history. Yeah, we should implement something like that. But going back to Tiger Guy, a video about how mini wargaming started, and we don't have one specifically, but we have talked about it here and there. Just a story there. The Omni says multilingual mini wargaming. Now that'd be cool. Come back in 10 years. Maybe it'll be the case. Okay, so another question from the comments. Alright, Greenleaf Mini says, what do you think about proxies in Warhammer 40k? Or, I should add, in any game in general. I find model proxying is not ideal, but okay for characters, whereas special heavy weapons proxying is pretty cheesy. And someone who proxies could technically cheat, as a lot of the weapons are the same cost, a glimpse at your opponent's army before deployment, and suddenly all your heavy bolters are missile launchers. Oh, and get Dave to stop always proxying everything. Thank you. I agree. I think proxying should be kept to a minimum. I don't disagree. I don't agree that you shouldn't have proxying, because sometimes you want to try out other kinds of models without buying them, and I think that's perfectly fine. And if your opponent knows what you're doing, then that's fine. But I prefer what you see is what you get. I prefer painted models on the table rather than unpainted. So I like the board to represent what is going on. So that's my overall preference. And I agree, Dave proxies way too much with this chaos. Or everything. Like this has that, which is this, and that has that, which is this, and this is that, which is that, and this is that, and that, and this is that, and that, and you just have to try to keep track of everything. And it's comical how bad it is. All right. Like the Doom of Malantai. Fedor says, like the Doom of Malantai, how I proxy Zone Thrope for him. Well, there's no model for the Doom of Malantai. So he's a character Zone Thrope, so I figure why not just use a Zone Thrope. So maybe one day I'll actually do one. But I don't know what they actually look like. There's not really any indication. Okay. So Warhammick says, I started a Necron army. I have 1,000 points now. Cool. And I thought about adding a Chaos Space Marine allies for 1,500 points. I know it's not good from fluff side, but what about from the game side? You know, I actually haven't done hardly any allying, so I couldn't really say. So there's going to be a ton of combos out there. Now that they've allowed allies, combos are going to start coming out, especially in tournaments, that are going to surprise people. And so give it a couple of years before they do, the next edition. And then on the forums, you're going to find people are going to have like the tried and tested combos. But right now, anything goes. Okay. So, question from the comments. Mardog, hi Matt, how was your Valhalla experience? Will you be going next year? Have you thought of doing something similar to it in your area? You've inspired me to make bat raps and should check out my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate any comments you have for me. Thanks and keep up the great work. The Valhalla experience was awesome. I recommend anybody who can afford to go, because it was just so much fun. Like, you got to eat good food, play war games. It was just an awesome vacation. And for us, of course, we had the added benefit of getting to do some networking with other businesses, such as Worthy Painting and Blue Table Painting and Hawk War Games. So that was nice. But I strongly recommend going. Yes, we will be going again next year, assuming things don't change. Have we considered doing one? We've thought about it, actually. After doing one, we thought that'd be a lot of fun, without trying to compete with Blue Table Painting, because that would be rude. But yeah, we thought about it, so you can kind of keep an eye out for that. There's really nothing set in any kind of material, let alone stone. But it's been a passing idea. Let me just put it that way. Okay. Alright, let's see if there's any comments here. Delta Commando 17, hey Matt, with Chaos, would you prefer Nurgle or Tzeentch theme armies? See, I like Tzeentch for how they look, and then Nurgle are probably the tougher ones, like without any pun intended there. I know they have higher toughness. So either would be fun, but I think I would personally do Tzeentch because of how they look. So, alright. And Colonel Craig is asking, when are you going to build your Colossus? I already got asked this question, so the answer is soon, and probably one of the other studios is going to paint it for me. Alright. Wild Horse from the comments. Hey Matt, great videos from all. Thank you. Just started building a Tyranid army. I recently played a battle at the Doom of Malantai and had a question on your playstyle. On page 58 in the Codex, a Doom Siphon Life can only target non-vehicle enemy units. Does it mean I can't target an infantry unit in a transport, since the transport has the vehicle description? The answer is yes, but not because it has the vehicle description, but because it's been FAQ'd. So I strongly recommend that if you're new to an army, not only read the Codex, but look up the FAQ, because not only will they clarify certain things, but they'll correct certain things as well. So no, you can't hit guys inside of vehicles, which is a shame. Alright, and he says here, I could not find any answer in the core rulebook or in the FAQ. Huh, that's interesting, because it's actually right in the FAQ. Okay. All right, don't have any other questions from the live audience yet. I see there's some chatting going on, but so make sure if you have any questions, live audience, go ahead and ask them, and I will answer them right here, live. Okay, here we go. Another question from the comments. Sebster99, oh my gosh, you read out my comment. I'm telling every one of my friends at school. Thanks. Oh, by the way, sorry for spelling meat wrong in my last comment. My spelling has always been very sloppy. You're welcome, Sebster99. Special K. Obviously, you don't have to answer this, but do you get more revenue per watch on YouTube or on your own site? Just want to support Mini Wargaming to my fullest ability, though I guess I could just stream them side by side. Well, don't do anything where you're trying to boost our revenues artificially. But the answer, I'm not actually, by YouTube's terms of service, I'm not supposed to divulge exact numbers, but I can tell you that the revenue per view is higher on our site than it is on YouTube. That's all I can tell you, though. I don't want to give you ratios or anything like that, but it's quite a bit higher on our site. So if you want to support us the most, watch it on our site. I realize that it's not as good with Blip, because for one thing it's not as compatible with smartphones or iPhones, but we're trying to work with that as well. Alright, any questions from the live audience? Colonel Craig, have you given any thought to adding screen text demonstrating the Army list in your bat reps? I've been having some questions about that. See, the thing is, we try to get them done as fast as we can, so extra details like that actually add on a surprisingly large amount of time when you consider how much time we put into them. Like, for example, when I edit a battle report afterwards, typically it's between an hour to an hour and a half. So you might think, well, what's adding a little bit of extra? You start adding all those extras and you can add on half an hour to an hour, which, when you start adding it up, can really add up. So we've thought about it, and it's something that we'll always consider, and when the time is right, we will do it. We're always looking for ways to improve our battle reports without making them take way too long to make. So, Vishy Sloths, why is Dan dressed as a homeless guy? Dan, come on in, Dan.
I already was there.
No, I know you were. Just come back. Come back, Dan. I got to see this because I don't know if I've noticed that. Okay, the reason he's dressed as a homeless guy, first off, is because he needs to shave and get a haircut. But really, it's because it's freezing cold in here. I'm only in a short sleeve because we just worked out, and so I'm actually pretty warm. So
the garbage can.
Yeah, the garbage can. But the furnace is broken, and it's being replaced, and it's like 5 degrees outside. Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit, that's like really cold. I think it's like 40.
Yeah,
40 Fahrenheit, probably. So there you go. Anything to say, Dan?
Yeah. No shoes till snow hits the ground.
True Canadian. Okay, except I'm wearing shoes and socks and jeans because I'm have a brain in my head. But anyways, and I cut my hair, shave. So anyways, so let's see what there's other comments here. Punisher 1, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I'm down in Miami. You can't imagine that kind of weather. Sure you can. Just open your freezer, stick your head in it, and you can imagine it. Okay, so Punisher Run is asking Matt, have you played against Dave's Chaos? I answered that no. Here we go. Warhemic, were you ever in Europe? No, I have never been in Europe. And if not, then will you? Probably, but I can't say when. Europe Warhammer 40k players are just waiting for some newbies. Why don't you come over here and say that? And then we'll see what happens. Howling Wolf 1337. Hey, Matt, what's up with Dark Potential? I've nearly seen all the playtests in 2 days and want to see more. Dark Potential, it's progressing. I should actually put an update on our website. I've been putting stuff on our website, but not an update. Everything, literally all the miniatures for all 3 starter sets should be done by tomorrow or Wednesday. Now, before you get crazy excited, meaning that we're going to start shipping it out, that's just the miniatures getting done. And then they have to get to us, and then we've got to ship them out to Worthy Painting, who's going to paint the miniatures, then ships them back, we take pictures, then we make the product design, then we print the boxes, then we package, then they're good to go out. I'm hoping 3 weeks from now we'll be ready to ship, but that's probably being optimistic. I really want them out in November because this is taking way longer than I had anticipated, which, it's been a learning experience. So we're progressing. We're definitely progressing, and you'll definitely see a video when we receive the boxes upon boxes of miniatures from the manufacturers. So, and thank you, Punisher1, for saying the Dark Potential website looks awesome. I agree, and I can say that because I didn't make it. I hired a company to do that. All right. Zanius, it's okay, we prefer you get it right over rushing it. I agree, but I also prefer that you get them before Christmas, so that we can actually get going on doing Dark Potential battle reports, on getting Wave 2. I'd love to show you some concept art for Wave 2. Ugh, the problem is I don't have the program open that can actually show you the stuff, so I can't. So sorry, but well, you know what? I can put a link in the chat, so if you're watching this live, then you can see it. So hold on one second. What would you rather see? Let's do a quick poll. Can I add a poll? Viewer list. Is there a way to do a poll? No, not really easily. Alright. More settings, pop out, timestamps. Never mind. Okay. Poll. Here's a poll. Would you rather see Zlanthos concept art or Corporation concept art? Not Reclaimers, because they don't have Wave 2 Reclaimer stuff. So, Zlanthos or Corporation? Go ahead and type it in right now. Only one or the other. So if you say yes, Mr. Orkwog, you only get one. Alright, Core, Zlanthos, 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 Core, Corporation. Any more? Zlanthos. Oh, hold on, where are we right now? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, there's... Okay, no, Zlanthos is winning. Oh, now Core. Zlanthos is winning by 1. I counted this right. It's going to close the poll in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so Zlanthos. I'll show you Zlanthos one. Alright, give me a second. Gotta find it. Alright, concept art, Zlanthos. Alright, what should I show you? What should I show you? Maybe show you some ideas. Let's see. Why isn't it in here? There we go. Maybe the shock troops? Maybe the manipulator? Or the infector? Okay, I'll show you some. These ones are still it's still in concept phase. But here we go. You ready? There we go. Click on that in the chat. Sorry if you're not watching this live. Oh, you want to see it?
Where is it?
Right there.
That's very cool.
So those are the alternate backs. So the front is good. If you're looking at it right now, then the front view is what I'm going to go for. I didn't like the back view in the first one, so I had him do a bunch of other ones. So yeah, it's probably going to be... I have a couple of my own favorites, but we'll see. So there you go. Alright. So, let's go to more questions. And obviously because of the polls and everything, your questions have been buried. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and type them out. In the meantime, I will go to the questions from comments. And here we go. Okay, this is a good question actually. Bloody Gamers, hey Matt, I was wondering why you took half of the Space Marine gameplay off your site and kept the other half on. Decided not to support the Space Marine game. I found it too violent, to be honest. Kind of regretted having supported to begin with, I'll be honest. And so I don't know why. I thought I had taken it all off, but maybe I didn't. But what are you going to do? So, and then also, what are your views on the new... I already talked about that. Do you think GW should make the Blood Ravens an official Codex chapter? I think they have enough codexes. Do you like the Blood Ravens when you played Dawn of War 2? Yep, they were cool. What are your views on President Obama? I live in England. I think he's an amazing and inspirational man. That's a loaded question. I'm not American, so I actually don't really have any educated views on Obama because I don't really follow American politics. I know a lot of Canadians do because it's interesting. But, you know, you think like with Mitt Romney being a Mormon and me being a Mormon that I'd be automatically like, yes, President Romney. But I don't know enough about them, and I wouldn't automatically vote just because he's a member of the same church as me. Because while that would hopefully mean he has some of the same values, it doesn't necessarily mean that is the way he's going to run the country is the way that I'd want him to run the country. So, because there's obviously more than one way to do that. So, I don't know. I don't really have any views on that. I think it was interesting that having the first black president. It'd be kind of interesting to have the first Mormon president next, but we'll see what happens. Right. Edarel says, what program are you using to stream this? Right now, nothing. I'm just using the webcam and then Justin.tv or Twitch.tv's built-in thing. When we used to do that, I used to use XSplit, and then we had some other stuff as well. But because I haven't used it in a long time, and I didn't have time to fool around with it, and because last time we would have some audio problems, I decided just to go simple. So it's a lower quality than what I used to do, but at the expense, or and the expense of lower quality for the benefit of just knowing it's going to work properly. I'll say that, and it's also going to drop. You watch. Vichy Swas, Matt, in an alternate universe, what are your views on President Schwarzenegger? I, once again, didn't really follow that in politics. So the governator becoming the presidentator? Not sure. It'd be interesting. I'd like to see it. Howling Wolf, 1337, why is the background different? New setting, new room? This is the same room as my office. If you're talking about like Dave's live show, then well, he does it in his office. Or Blue Table Paintings, that's in their offices in Utah. But I have done some reorganizing here and there. And it's probably just the angle too. Here, let's see if we can. Here, I'll show you. See, there's a bunch of boxes. This right here is a Khador army from Blue Table Painting. We're going to be showcasing in Battle Report some of the armies that they sell on their website. They do. I'm not sure if you knew this, but they do like full pre-painted armies. Some of them are trade-in, some of them are second-hand, some of them are brand new. So you just check that out on their website, bluetablepainting.com. So this is a Khador army. So I'll be showing that some War Machine stuff. That's my coat. That's a newspaper article when we were in the newspaper. There's some Dark Potential art. And then I've been doing some cleaning, so this is all a mess. That's a bunch of software, and there's some envelopes, and there's some miniatures that were just lying around. Interesting stuff, like a French Lord of the Rings from like 4 years ago that I just haven't known what to do with yet. I've got like the Assault on Black Reach kit where it was all orcs, and so this seems to do. I got like some old stuff basically, and then there's me. Oh, I gotta fix the camera. Sorry if this makes you feel a little nauseous. There we are. All good. Okay. Alright, it's the same room, different angle. Only thing I know about Arnold, something about having an affair, his wife leaving him. Yep, I'm sure. That's the thing. Those are the things that everybody finds out about, but they don't really, unfortunately, know as much about their political stance. Okay, and their Punisher 1 and their Kickstarter is looking to expand that army painting idea. Yeah, what they're looking to do is basically become a place where you could go and be like, I want this kind of army, but and they're trying to keep costs down, so they has to be more cookie cutter, and being able to just buy the army and have it shipped out really fast, rather than waiting the 3 or 4 weeks for the painting commission to be done at a higher price. So that's what the Kickstarter's doing. So check out their Kickstarter too. Okay. Lavish Inferno 115. Matt, can you give us a rundown of the races in Dark Potential for someone who hasn't been keeping up with it? Sure. Basically, Dark Potential happens in the near future, probably about, I think it's like 300 years in the future, where humanity spread out to the stars, and then we're pushed back to Earth from an alien invasion, the Xlanthos. So the Xlanthos are the aliens. There was a misunderstanding, actually, of why they attacked, but we'll get into that in those details some other time. And so the game ends with, or the war ends with basically both sides annihilating each other, but the war never hits Earth. It gets to the solar system, but never actually gets to Earth. So Earth is not bombarded or destroyed by war, but instead they launch a virus trying to knock out humanity and hopefully trying to win the war that way. The virus was successful, but their fleets weren't. And so there's some of the Xlanthos ships crash landed on Earth, and so you're left with that. So you have Xlanthos, who are the alien invaders, and that's the concept art I just showed you. That's one of the guys. Then you have some of the human factions, like the corporation, the Petrov Morales Corporation, the PMC, or the Corps, however you want to call them. They're basically, they decided to form a government around the idea of a corporation structure, where instead of conquering other people, they would sell their services to them. And it's not like the mafia, where if you don't pay the insurance, they come and beat you up or something. It's more like, well, if you want to be on your own, that's fine. And as they grow, obviously people are like, yeah, I want a piece of that, so I'll buy into it because the protection I get, the resources I get, and all of that. And that's how they expand. And then you have the Reclaimers, who are the survivors of the human fleet. So they live out in space. They did genetic modifications to themselves so they can live in low gravity, because their resources are very limited, so they're not able to keep up the artificial gravity because of all the energy constraints and all of that. And so they're taller but very weak, so they have to wear exoskeleton suits. So basically they're kind of like a Crisis-looking suit, but not quite. It doesn't make them superhuman, it just allows them to walk in normal gravity. So they're like the hit-and-run kind of guys. They come in, they grab resources, and they get out because their immune systems are shot, and their idea is to one day reclaim the Earth, but the problem is they're so few in number that it's kind of hard to take over an entire planet that's full of aliens, hostile animals, hostile environment, and everything else. So the virus is no longer really present, it's only in pockets, so that's not really the issue. So that's the three main races that are coming out first. There are some others as well that will be coming out later. So the Xlanthos, the Corporation, and the Reclaimers. Okay. Howling Wolf says, "Oh, right now I see it. I'd like a media tour of the building and also see Trish." Trish actually doesn't work in the building. She works remotely. Colonel Craig, I know that you guys call it quits at 5, but can you ever do these later in the day so that others in school or work can participate? Well, it's funny because we do it later in the day and people in Europe can't participate because it's like in the middle of the night for them. But the answer is yes. Dave, for Vault members, is going to be doing at least he's going to try out doing a weekly show every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So you can be on the lookout for that. He started last Thursday. It's for Vault members only. We're going to be doing more live shows overall, some for the Vault, some for free. And some of them will be in the evening. Like we're even looking at getting like Nick from Worthy Painting to do a show for us. And so he's in Europe, so obviously he's 5 hours ahead of Eastern, so it'll work out nicely as well. In Blue Table Painting, they're 2 hours behind, so if they do it later in the day, it works out to the evening for Eastern Time. So we're going to be doing them all over. So unfortunately, you're going to find that majority of them are going to be in the kind of during the day because that's when we work. Alright, Matt Vagan says, "Do you think it's possible to see your Necron Nids in an apocalypse battle with the guys in the office? And do you think that Dan's Big Bomba going to see some more action?" Well, the Big Bomba that you saw in that one game, that was actually not what it was intended for. It's intended for a narrative campaign, which I plan on doing, but we've been, once again, so busy that it's been hard to get to it. As for Apocalypse games, yeah, we definitely want to do Apocalypse games. So, alright. Fade Dwarf makes me think of that one character from Mass Effect. I think of the Krogan. People have said that there's, or the T one, the T, I can't remember. Not the Turian, or Tally. Oh, Tally, it makes me think of Tally. I see, all because of the, that's interesting. Xenius, I know plastic injection is crazy expensive, but what made you pick pewter instead of resin? Easier to produce? Yes. And there's a manufacturer that I've worked with in the past who does pewter, and so I already had a relationship with them. And yeah, it's just easier to, it's easier. Resin is actually a lot harder to work with. So, okay. The Omni, Matt, would you think of getting the Dark Potential video game produced in a few years' time? I'd love to. Oh, I would be just in heaven if there was a game made. I'd want it to be a first-person, either action, or sorry, not action, adventure or role-playing game. Kind of like Fallout, but better. I love Fallout, don't get me wrong, but that's how I would want it. So I would love that. Oh, just absolutely love it. All right. Vichy Swas, has Dan heard of Movember? It's a thing we do here in England where people grow a mo or mustache.
Yeah, I'm not shaving the hair in next month.
And raise money for charity. With the mini wargaming community at his fingertips, he could do quite well. He could shave all but a killer mustache. You're not going to have a mustache?
No, I'm going to have a beard.
Why?
No shave November.
No shave November. But what about Movember?
I've done that enough.
You've done that enough? You'd look like one of the Mario Brothers if you did that.
I've already done that. That was last Halloween.
But we didn't see it on video. So, I don't know. I think everybody should bug Dan to do that. So find a video where Dan is in the battle report or something and just comment and say that he should do that. Okay. Alright. Fade Dwarf, the first two Fallout games were better in my opinion, honestly. I liked Fallout 2 a lot. I started in the franchise at Fallout 2, so it was hard. I went and tried to play Fallout 1, but because Fallout 2 was an improvement on the game engine, it was hard to do that. I really like Fallout 2. I like Fallout 3 a lot. I agree, it was kind of a step back in their role-playing sense, because the dialogue wasn't as good. but it was just so much fun to actually be in the environment. And then like the other ones like New Vegas, I think they've done things to improve it. I just kind of disappointed that it has to be full of like prostitution, drugs, and all that, and then like their gory system that's not even realistic. Like come on, like shooting that gun and all of a sudden the guy's head comes off. Like give me a break. It doesn't have to be like that. So. The Omni says, by better than Fallout, do you mean less go here and kill those guys and more having to make difficult decisions that affect the world around you in a bigger way than some dialogue options? Yeah, maybe. I just mean more... Like, you know what? Fallout 3 New Vegas, I liked... They had the right idea, and that was in their hardcore mode, where you basically had to eat, drink, and sleep. You actually had those meters. I thought that was cool. And I know not everybody would like that, and so there'd have to be a few options in how you played the game, because it has to appeal to other people as well. So I just mean, I guess, yeah, maybe less running around. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I mean. I just know that I want to feel like I'm immersed in the environment. I think the visuals of a Dark Potential role-playing game would be much better than Fallout, because Fallout's all blown up, so it's all brown. It looks cool, but it's all brown in the end. Like you compare Fallout to, like, say, Oblivion or Skyrim, and it doesn't compare because there's just all the vibrant colors in that. So you kind of have the... I love the scavenging aspect of those games, where you go around and you're just trying to survive. Just trying to survive. And I think that's cool. And it feels like it. I like that your guns break. I like the fact in Fallout that you have to actually use different kinds of weapons because you use the same one over and over again and it breaks. Whereas in other games, as you upgrade your guns, you start with your pistol, then you get your shotgun, then you get your machine gun. You rarely ever scale back and use the other ones, unless there's very little ammo. Because why? There's no reason to ever go back to your pistol because this other one is that much better. So, yeah. Shedrick says, LOL, just stopped playing New Vegas and came to check my emails. Oh look, a live stream. And I'm talking about New Vegas. Alright, let's see if I missed anything. Fade Dwarf, well, I say with game style, really, Fallout 3 is good, but I would have preferred it the way the first two were made, not first-person shooter. I don't know, I like the first-person aspect of it. It helps you kind of get immersed into it. But I understand what you're saying. And I think I would have liked to have seen Fallout 3 in the same style, but just, better graphics and all of that. But who knows? Okay. Colonel Craig, suffering any effects of the storm? Yes, we're having constant, non-stop cold rain. And it's really low temperature. And we're supposed to be getting lots of rain over the next few days. It's basically going to ruin Halloween. But that's okay. My kids are young enough still that they won't really notice. Okay. Another thing from the comments. Orky Benji, Matt, is there any possibility any of the mini wargaming crew will start a Dark Eldar army? There's always a possibility, but probably not in the near foreseeable future. Their playstyle is very interesting. The models are the best in the line. It would make for some great videos. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Eldar fluff. It's just a little too morbid and grotesque. But I do agree their models are really well detailed and really neat. Asipter Lucis, or Lucas. Hey man, I would love to see some more Imperial Guard battle reports and to see some strategy for them. Have you ever thought about starting a new store? I think we're pretty busy with the one we got. Maybe one in the Southern Hemisphere, New Zealand. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the point where we want to start a chain or a franchise. It doesn't seem to ever be in the business plan. It's something I thought about before, but since the web store has been doing well, Dark Potential has potential, the Vault's doing really well, it seems that that's going to be the way we're going to be heading. Alright. Tiger Guide 786, I'm behind, but in your last sit and talk you mentioned a Dark Potential role-playing game. I think that would be great, and you should check out the Savage World system. Pinnacle, the publisher, welcomes anyone to use their system. There's obviously rules for giving them credit, but they aren't too strict as far as I know. It's a great system for anyone to pick up and play. I have thought about a role-playing game. It's not something that we can do in the near future just because of time. Also thought of a Dark Potential board game. I've actually written out the concept for it. Thought it'd be neat, but it's more one of those, shelve it until I have some time and money to put into doing that. And want to get the Dark Potential actual game out. So, but yeah, I'd like eventually to kind of branch the Dark Potential out in the whole franchise, to have role-playing games, to have board games, to have computer games, to have movies, to have TV shows, whatever. Like I kind of see it as having that kind of potential. And I'm not being unrealistic here. I realize that the chances of that happening aren't super high, but it would be really neat if it did happen. because it would just be cool to see something you create kind of grow up that much. And it's the apocalypse, the post-apocalypse that I like. It's my style. Shredrig, Oblivion. The trick was to note down every skill gain on a scrap of paper or something. When you got close to your goals, go train that was missing. I know. Yeah, I really don't like the Oblivion. Even the Skyrim system improved on it, but I don't like the whole you level up as your skills level up. I think it's so flawed because if you focus on the non-combat skills, all your enemies get too strong for you. And so I played Skyrim. The first time through was fine. The second time I really focused on smithing and on speech and on stealing stuff, and so I got super rich, but then I couldn't fight to save my life. Every battle was epic, and I was using every single potion that I had just to beat a simple enemy. So I don't like that system. So I prefer... I think Fallout did it better, kind of going back to that. They still leveled up the bad guys with you, but it didn't feel as bad. It wasn't until you got to the really high levels that it kind of got ridiculous. And so, yeah, it seemed to do a better job with that. But then Fallout had the kind of, and the role-playing aspect of it, your skills, you're kind of forced to do one of two ways with your skills. You either really went unarmed, or, unarmed melee, or you go with your guns. Because that was prevalent. The close combat stuff with like your power fists were the strongest weapons in the game. Like that was a very powerful character. And then the guns, you're mostly going to find regular guns, not energy weapons and all of that, until later in the game. So it has its flaws too. I'd want a more open system that kind of allows you to build it however you like. The Omni, Dark Potential TV show? Now that'd be awesome. I'd say it has, puts on sunglasses, potential. I'd say it has potential. Not sunglasses, but you know. Colonel Craig, how much longer do you think before we see Dark Potential bat wraps with Dark Potential models? Hopefully in the next few weeks. So, Warhemic, is it possible to make a Skype battle report? Yes, we're going to be trying that out. So look forward to seeing a few Skype battle reports, and if it really works, then we'll actually open it up to the general public, in which case everybody who can't travel here can start to challenge us. So it'll be interesting. They'll always have to be smaller games because you have to control the models for the player, and you have to be a little more forgiving of exact measurements and exact everything, because you can't look at the table as well. Shredrig, kind of like EVE Online skills. My brother played EVE Online, and he showed it to me, and I don't know much about it. All I remember is something about you can train your skills, and you can actually leave, you can turn off the browser and not be playing, and your skills will continue to train. But I honestly don't know enough about it to answer that question. And I can't really answer it because if the game was made today compared to when it's made, like if it was made in 5-10 years from now, it'd be completely different what we could do, because technology will change to allow for different things. So it really comes down to that. The Madad, Themidad, H. Fallout had scaling, but they also had areas and counters that weren't scaled. It worked really well. Yeah, and I like that. And see, then like you went back to Morrowind, that's pre-Oblivion, and your levels still went up with your skills, but areas were scaled. So you go into an area, you always find the same kind of enemies, and other areas will be harder. And I like that. I prefer that. I prefer the whole, I can't go there until I'm stronger, and I can go to this area which was really hard before, and now I can kill everybody really easily, which is satisfying. You want that level of satisfaction of difficulty and then ease, and then difficulty and then ease. You kind of want that. It's hard at first, and then you build your character, and all of a sudden that's easy, and then you come across something else that's hard at first, and it becomes easy. I like that, rather than everything scaling with you, which kind of ruins that feeling of progression. Because if everything progresses with you, you're not progressing. You're just keeping up with them. That's like the D&D, the 4th edition. Fourth edition, yeah. When you level up and everybody else has to be higher level with you. So you're not really getting any further ahead. It just feels like you are. But in essence, you're not. R3Zeal or Rezeal. Hey, is there any kind of rule to check when a live show occurs, like every Monday? Right now we're doing this sporadically, but we are, if we can get into it, we are going to start to do a schedule. And I say that very reluctantly because I don't want to promise anything that we don't end up fulfilling. Like for example, Blue Table Painting is going to be doing another live show for the Vault this Wednesday, just like they did last Wednesday. Dave is going to be doing another live show on Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, I think for the Vault. It might be for free, I can't remember. And I'm thinking of starting to do these sit and talks once a week at a regular scheduled time. So it's hard to say that because with our schedules the way they are, like if somebody challenges us to a battle report, then we need to fit them into the schedule. So yeah. Oh, somebody's saying D&D 4 isn't a role-playing game. Silly. Well, it follows the... It is technically a role-playing game. Just as much as Diablo is a role-playing game. Because it's not. It seems that anybody... It seems that as soon as somebody says role-playing game, they think it's just character development. Like, literally, like, your skills going up. But that's not enough. If that's a role-playing game, then Batman Arkham Asylum is a role-playing game because your character develops. Or, heck, any of the first-person shooters like Call of Duty and Call of Duty, when you go online and you get to upgrade your character, that's a role-playing game. Obviously they're not. So, for me, a role-playing game is where you have character development, and that can be very simplistic or it can be very complex, and you also have interaction. And not necessarily with other people, like real people, but like in Skyrim and Oblivion, you're talking to people and you can have dialogue. And I don't just mean like interaction where you click on them with the little thing above their head saying, hey, I've got a quest for you, and you click on them and they give you a quest and you're off. I mean like you talk to them and there's different things you could say to them and it affects the conversation and the outcome, and you can affect real world events, all that kind of stuff. That to me, that's a role-playing game, like Mass Effect, those kind of things. Fey Dwarf, technically the definition of role-play is where you play the role of a character that is you, but at the same time not. Well, that would be every single game then. That's the problem. So when we're talking about like the genre of role-playing games, that's what I mean. A lot of things are kind of overlapping now because of technology. All right. Let's take another question from the comments. Let's see. Azrak. Hey Matt, thanks for answering my question. You're welcome, whatever that was. I also want to say I'm excited for Dark Potential and plan to collect a corporation as my first army. They look very cool, and I think you have given them a very interesting fluff. Thank you. I was wondering if anyone at Mini Wargaming plans to collect Dark Angels when the new Codex drops. I am planning to start an army of them once I finally have all my second-hand orcs repainted. To be honest, I'd like to actually do that. We'll see if I have time. Other than that, there's no plans, but we'll see. Alright, any questions from live audience? We got Reziels who says, best role-playing game are the ones you can play around a table with a couple of dice and without paper, just role-playing. See, that's debatable because I enjoy the character development, like the number crunching. I think that's a very fun part for me. So you're going to have different styles of people. People who prefer more of the actual interaction, some who prefer more of the character number crunching. You're going to get that whole variety. So it's very subjective. It's like saying the best food are chicken wings. Oh, chicken wings. My eyes just started to water. They actually did. I'm hungry, and I'm a little cold, so hot chicken wings. I don't mean like spicy hot, because I don't like really, really spicy chicken wings, but regular chicken wings. Oh, that would be so good. If you do a cooking show, I can show you how I make chicken wings. I think the chicken wings I make are the best ones that I've ever tasted. I do not claim that they're the best chicken wings in the world, because I'm sure somebody out there makes chicken wings that I would like better than how I make them. But they're the best ones that I've ever eaten, from how I like them. But I like a medium level spice for chicken wings with a bit of sweetness to it. Like I put brown sugar in it. So I'm not like one of those, eat the suicide wings. Oh yeah, look at me go! And my stomach is just like raw, and it rips in half as all the spices tears through it. Okay. Shredrig. I have shepherd's pie in the oven. Shepherd's pie is really good. Growing up, I didn't really like it because I didn't like potatoes growing up, but now I love potatoes. Orcish cooking show with Dan. Oh, that's such a funny idea. One day, once we have our act together and we've figured out actually how we're supposed to be making videos all the time, because we're still figuring it out, it'll be fun to have shows like that, with set up in a studio, and Mini War Culinary. That's awesome. Okay. Zanius, Dave's Valhalla cooking show was awesome. No cooking actually in it, but still cool. Yeah, that was more just the banter. Iron Wargamer. That's awesome, Eterils. Okay. Vishy Spots, Orcish cooking show. Kill it, eat it. Shredrig, accidentally cooking grots. Okay, those are all very funny ideas. Okay, if you have any other questions that you want to be, do you know dumplings with beef and sauerkraut? Best meal in the world. You mean dumplings? I actually haven't eaten that, so no. Okay, another question from the comments. Asceptor Lucis, hey Matt, I signed up for the trial of Vault and I didn't have enough money to continue it, and I really do feel bad about not going through on it, simply putting it, you guys deserve it, and your content is too good and I want to see more. So for Christmas I will be getting it annually. That's awesome. And you know what? You don't have to feel bad. We realize that not everybody can afford to have a Vault membership. And we'd love to be able to make all the videos available for free. We really would. But in the end, it costs money. There's overhead. There's employee wages. And ironically, by having the Vault, we can actually make more free videos. So when people understand that, they start to become more supportive of the Vault. That even if you can't afford it, you're actually getting more free videos because of the Vault, because it allows us to have more employees. So I appreciate it. If you're not able to support us by joining the Vault, then whatever else you do, by watching our videos, leaving comments, that actually makes us money as well, just for the advertising revenue. And of course, buying from our store when you can. Anything, it does help. Of course, being a Vault member helps a lot, so we would love that too. All right. And also he says, and I strongly think that New Zealand is better than Australia, even though I'm half Aussie. So you should come to New Zealand. Well, we shall see. Oh, and also, still trying to save up to fly to you and do a battle report. How's the accommodation up there? Well, we've got inexpensive hotels around. It'll probably cost you, I don't know, $60 to $100 a night, depending on the room or the place. Okay, any other questions from Shredrig? My money goes to shepherd pies. Understandable. Food before Vault. There's a hierarchy of needs, and I think food comes before Mini Wargaming Vault. But just before. Colonel Craig, when are you going to restock the t-shirts? I know several of the Minion Sons want some. We've been, I should do this soon. We've been meaning to switch from selling them on our store to selling them on Spreadshirt. That way we can do more of them, because it's actually pretty expensive for us to stock up on them, because we have to buy like 50 to 100 of them at a time. And so if there's like several designs, then you have to buy all those, and then they take a while to sell. So they're not a huge seller. So, but if we switch to Spreadshirt.com, sure, you won't be able to buy them with orders, but it's better shipping costs, it's faster shipping, and then we can actually, there's no limit to how many different designs we can have, because it's okay if we only sell a few of each of them. So we got to look into that. I keep getting reminded of it, and then I keep putting it off. Okay, Howling Wolf 1337. What if I make my store in Holland excited about Dark Potential? Will there be shipping arrangements possible? Yes, we will eventually be shipping everywhere for stores. But right now, just so you know, any orders of over $100 of Dark Potential stuff will get free shipping worldwide. So shipping costs are not really an issue. The only issues will be shipping times, and then of course duty or taxes that you get charged when it comes into your country. But you pay the taxes if you bought it in your country anyways. At least that's how it works in Canada. So right now you spend at least $100 in Dark Potential stuff, and you get free shipping worldwide, anywhere in the world. So we eat the shipping cost, even though it's expensive, because we want to get it out there. Eventually we'll have distributors worldwide and hopefully stores worldwide stocking it, and so then you won't have to buy from us. You can just go to your local store. So, Tugboat Tim says, can you explain a little more about your upcoming narrative campaign? Not much. It's pretty straightforward. I don't want to give anything away, though. This is going to be a more story-driven campaign that Dan, Dave, and I will be participating in. Maybe Owen as well. So, but it's once we can get to it. All right. Faydwarf. Hey Matt, do you think a Space Marine army using griffins as mounts instead of wolves would work? Well, I guess it's proxying, sure. Razel, concerning the $5 for Games Workshop photos on the shop, do you accept club accounts rather than people accounts? Aim is to gather money for the club. To explain to everybody else if you're not sure what this is, basically, because Games Workshop doesn't allow us to use their pictures, we've offered a $5 bounty if you can submit a picture. It needs to be high enough quality for us to accept it. And the answer to you, Razel, is definitely. Basically, whatever account you're logged into when you submit the photo is the account that gets the $5 of credit. So you can log in one account and have 100,000 million people all submit to that one account, and then you get that account gets the $5 per accepted one. Just make sure you really read the guidelines, because we're being very picky, because we give $5 per picture. So pure white background, nice and in focus, nicely cropped, somewhat well painted model, good lighting, that'll get accepted. Colonel Craig, are you going to redouble your efforts to beat Owen? I'm pulling for you. Yeah, I gotta beat him. He's killing my winning streak there. Shredrig, for those who donated to the Indiegogo thing, I remember something was said about sending out emails for the gifties. Any ETA? We did that a long time ago. So what you need to do is email support@miniwargaming.com, and they can get you information on that. In fact, actually, I can probably give you the link right now. I'm trying to remember what it is. I think it's miniwargaming.com/claim perks. Yeah, that's what it is. And then you'd have to enter the, here, I'll put it in the chat, miniwargaming.com/claim perks. And then you just need to enter the email address that you use in your Indiegogo account. And then it'll guide you through that. Sarcastic87, are you planning to do another sale before Christmas? Well, Black Friday is coming up. Faydwarf, got a ton of warriors, haha. Wouldn't say they're good enough to get used though, but tabletop standard maybe. Well, the painting, it needs to be painted well enough. It doesn't have to be very high quality painting, as long as it's not like really bad. It's more the quality of the picture that's important. Fishy Swass, shoot. He says, darn it. You are allowed to use privateer press images. Can't send in my Hexeris that I've just finished. Took me 20 odd hours. Yeah, unfortunately we don't need it for privateer press. You're welcome to submit the images, and we can approve them as secondary images. When people are on the actual product page, they can see it, but you don't get anything for that. So it's more if you just want your stuff showcased. Orkwog, if you guys are thinking about Spreadshirt, you might also want to look at Zazzle or CappyPress for a wider range of products. Possibly. We'll see. The reason I said Spreadshirt is because some of the big YouTubers use it, so that assumingly means that it works well. So, Colonel Craig, any plans for Owen to get into War Machine? He actually is collecting a War Machine army and a Hordes army. Lob078, gonna take your Necrons against a Cooler next time? I think I gotta do my Tyranids until I beat him. It was a pretty close game. He was massacring me, but objective-wise, I almost won. And I learned a lot about what not to do. Next time I'm gonna do probably hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes of guys. So that I don't care how good your shooting is, that there's a bajillion guys coming at you. So. Alright. Tugboat Tim, would it be possible for you or Owen to take on Daryl for Beasts of War? Well, considering we're on opposite sides of the world, not opposite, but he's across the ocean, might be hard. One day. One day we'll go to Beasts of War and we'll challenge him. Alright, question from the comments that were from the last video. Danny the King, hey Matt, I love all the content you guys put up, especially you, Dave and Dan. Well, thank you. I recently became a Vault member so I could watch all the Vault content, but the videos would stop playing halfway and wouldn't continue. I tried watching them through 4 different media outlets and I had the same problem with all of them, so I had to cancel. Any reason why this would happen? Just want to become Vault again so I can access all that great content. I have no idea. I suggest emailing our support at miniwargaming.com, and trying to work out the technical problems there. Because everything it's run from Vimeo.com is the site that we use to host it, and everything works fine. Usually if somebody's having a problem watching the videos, we suggest they update their Flash player, make sure their settings are correct. If you have an older computer, that might cause problems, but other than that, I can't think of any reason why. Alright. Fey Dwarf, hey Matt, another small question. How do you think an all-winged Tyranid army would do? I think it would be fun. I don't know if it would do really well, because it's expensive. And you can't actually have all-winged, because your troop choices, none of them have wings. So you'd have to bring at least a couple things. It'd be fun. I'd like to play that. You could do it in a Planet Strike game. Shrikes are not troop choices, Frederick. Yeah. Tyranid warriors with wings used to be troop choices in the old codex. You could just upgrade them. So, but now they're just fast attack. So, Shrikes no, but winged. Yeah. Faydwarf, well, I was meaning winged warriors and such. Of course, you need a few unwinged ones. Winged warriors, the Shrikes work really, really well. I like them. As long as you're not going up against a lot of strength 8 and higher weapons who can insta-kill them to death, they do work quite well. So, yeah, it'd be fun. And it'd be fun to actually model it too. Lots of gargoyles. Do like 2,000 point games so you could bring 6 fax attack and 4 HQ. You have to bring 4 troop choices too, but just bring like 4 minimal groups of Termagants or Ripper Swarms or something. And then bring like a couple Harpies, 2 big groups of Shrikes, a couple big groups of Gargoyles, and then like 4 Hive Tyrants with wings. That'd be more than 2,000 points. You probably could fit that. General Marion Cross, hey Matt, would you consider doing doubles battles for bat reps? It's something we always consider, but you have to understand we're trying to keep the cost down per battle report, and so having 4 people in a battle report doubles the cost, or quadruples the cost if you're all employees, so it's a little more difficult. Okay. Yeah, you have, as they're saying, you have a 5 out of 6 chance to roll objectives. With our battle reports, we don't often roll objectives unless it's truly equal against each other. Like we both have roughly the same number of scoring, roughly the same number of fast and heavy support. We usually choose our scenario. Because if we both have 3 heavy support, we're like, hey, yeah, let's do big guns never tire. It's fun. Or if we both have a lot of fast attack, then we'll do the Scouring, I think it's called, or whatever one it is where the fast attacks. So, alright. Another one from the comments. What time is it? It's almost 3 o'clock, so we're almost done. RayCobb999, hi Matt, I see that you guys are accepting applications for content makers and such. I was wondering exactly what it takes to get hired by Mini Wargaming, as I would love to make videos for you guys if ever possible. Thank you and keep up the great work. We're always looking for other content producers. It varies. Like at this particular moment, we're not looking to hire, but that doesn't. We're always looking because there's always points where we'll want to hire, and it's better if we've already done the research and we've already kind of gotten to know people. And then there's the occasional time where somebody's just so good that we just have to hire them anyway, despite the fact that we don't need anybody else. What do we look for? I would say it depends if you're local or if you're not. If you're local, then we're looking for a really, really good personality and semi-good technical skills, because we can teach you all the video editing stuff. But personality is hard to teach. So you need to be knowledgeable in the games, you need to be good on camera. If you're not local, then you need to already have some video making skills. We can teach you a lot. Like you look at Austin from Brush for Hire and you compare his videos from when he started with us to the videos now, and it's night and day. The videos he makes now for the Vault, the painting tutorials, they're fantastic. They're just like they're just awesome. They're really, really awesome videos, and he's doing a tremendous job. So he's learned. He's gotten better at that. So you need to have the skills already in place. You need to be a good player, or a really good painter, or a good terrain maker. And if you're not working here, you need to be willing to have the equipment yourself, find the camera, the computer, software, and all of that. I would say if your dream is to be hired by Mini Wargaming to make content, then what we usually look for is people who already make content, who have already proven that people like their content. So start your own YouTube channel, start posting content, and that's usually like the proof that we need that people like it already. So that's your best bet, is to already have an existing YouTube channel. You don't have to post to it all the time. We understand personal YouTube channels, you're lucky to get a video out every single week. You know, maybe a couple a month if you're working really hard. So that's what I would say. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. Tavarit. Matt, have you given it any thought to make an iPhone or an Android app for Mini Wargaming? We eventually want to, especially for the Vault members, not because they're special, but because it would just be an easy way for them to watch the Vault videos. But also for regular Mini Wargamers, kind of like the YouTube app, where instead of going to the YouTube site, it's made just for watching the videos. So yeah, that is something we thought of, but it won't happen anytime soon. Okay. Alright, so any other questions here? If not... Oh, actually, Colonel Craig, what did you like about Drop Zone Commander? I thought the terrain and the models looked really cool. The game was fun. We're probably going to get a couple armies in pretty soon and try it out in some battle reports, so you can look forward to that. Lips, Dub Hips. Hey Matt, just wondering what your musical taste is like. What are you into? Personally, I love the classics such as Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and more progressive groups such as Genesis, Rush, and Yes. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and what you think makes a good song. It's kind of interesting because I consider myself musical. I play piano. I've been playing piano since I was 5. That's when my parents started me in lessons, and I'm active in playing piano. I've learned classical, or what we call classical, you know, the whole romantic and classical eras. Basically stuff that's like 1800s and before. So that's what I kind of grew up on. I don't really listen to music. My brother, growing up, my older brother, listened to a lot of heavy metal, and it was very loud, and his room was next to mine, so even if I wanted to listen to music, I couldn't. And I kind of grew a dislike for loud music and just listening to music in general. I like peace and quiet. Occasionally, like just recently, I was driving really far, like an hour and a half away, and so I turned on the radio for 20 minutes, and it was okay, and then I turned it off because I just wanted the peace and quiet. So I don't really listen to music, but I like any good music. Almost any genre has good music. Some less than others, like screamo music. I think that's stupid, retarded, it's dumb. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word. That might offend some people. I mean, it's dumb. But I like any of them. Country, even heavy metal has its place. Even rap has its place. So I can't really say I have a specific band that I like the most. I love soundtracks from movies. Those are usually the most epic. So, alright. Fedorf, what do you think of the bikes and walkers for Necrons, Matt? I haven't played with the walkers yet, so I can't comment on that. They look good, though. The bikes, they're not that good, but they're kind of fun to play with. So they're a little lackluster there. So, but I'll keep using them. Fade Dwarf, hey Matt, have you played the new XCOM Firaxis made? What is XCOM? What kind of game is XCOM? I do play computer games, but I know it's a video game, Razel. I mean, like, what kind? Is it a space game, role-playing game, fantasy game? what kind of game is it? I guess I could Google it, but turn-based strategy. So, like, sci-fi, fantasy? General Marion Cross, how are you finding Lizardmen as an army? I really like them. I wish I could play with them more. Alien Apocalypse, sci-fi turn-based strategy. If you swaps bet mats into Dragon Force secretly. What is Dragon Force?
That's a movie.
Is it a really bad band? Chaos Log, my life goal is to work for me Morgan. The only thing is I'm not even 14 and I'm in Scotland. Well, that's fine. It's not a problem if you're only 14 because you have your life. It's a life goal. So you can wait a few years. So I'll have to check out XCOM. Let's see. XCOM. The story of XCOM is aliens are invading Earth. Turn-based strategy. My nose is itchy. Images of XCOM. Oh, is it like an indie game? It's like, from what I can see really quickly, it's only like $3 or $5. Anyway. Okay. It's 3 o'clock. We're pretty much out of time. Answer one more question. Alright, so the next question that's good, I'll answer it. I'm sorry, Howling Wolf. No! Do you see that like a wolf? Huh. Can I answer one more question? One. Itchy nose. Anybody have a question? I'll answer one from the comments then, or from here. I already answered how do I like the new Chaos Codex. Awoo! Says hey, Howling Dwarf. Okay, Colonel Craig, what is your favorite color? I don't know. I like blue, no red, no orange. I don't know. I don't think I have a color. Favorite color. Shredrig, what are you looking forward to the most? That's a good question. I'll finish with that. What am I looking forward to the most? Well, we have a lot of good ideas from Mini Wargaming that you'll hopefully see over the next year. Including types of videos that we're going to make, things we're going to do to our web store, things that we're going to do with our vault, Dark Potential. So I'm looking forward to next year, 2013. Looking forward to seeing what happens. Mini Wargaming has been an interesting ride. It's been an interesting ride because we started off with one idea and it's kind of evolved. And we've had to adapt because because of things that have happened in the marketplace and things that we thought would work that didn't, and things that we didn't think would work that did. And so I'm interested to see what 2013 brings. We've had a good year this year, and that's good. It's been a good 5th year, and we're into our 6th year now. So I'm looking forward to the next year and see what it brings. Hopefully it'll bring an increase in Vault members, which will bring an increase in number of people that work for us who make videos. Hopefully they'll see Dark Potential take off. Hopefully they'll see the web store get more product lines and even more customers. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to 2013 in the business, and personally as well. I look forward to that. Watching my kids grow up is kind of fun too. So I'm going to end here. So if you have any other questions, if you're on live chat right now, I will be posting the recording of this, assuming that the recording worked properly, and you can post a comment on that if you have other questions. If you are watching the recording of this, then you can also post a question as well. I only got through like 4 out of 15 of the pages, so you're more likely to get your question answered if you show up live, if I'm doing them live, and I realize not everybody can do that. So leave a question in the comments below. Thank you very much for joining me on this live show. I do plan on doing these more often. Probably eventually we'll find a slot once a week where I'll always do it at that time, or at least always try to do it at that time, and make it a little more regular. So, but we'll see. So anyways, this is Matthew from Mini Wargaming. Happy Wargaming.